Growing bipartisan support for a potential regulation of these devices. Florida Republican Congressman Carlos Curbelo has just introduced a bill to do just that. He joins us live from Statuary Hall in our nation's capital. Congressman, good morning to you.
Steve, good morning. It's good to be with you.
Okay, there are a lot of people who say they can go ahead, they could legislate, they could regulate this thing, but even if he didn't have them, would that have stopped what happened in Las Vegas this past week?
I think it'd be disingenuous to say that had this law been in effect, the tragedy could have been prevented. I think it's more accurate to say that it could have been mitigated, that maybe it would not have been as tragic. Maybe fewer people would have died, because what we're seeing here is that someone is using a device that is turning a legal semi-automatic weapon into an automatic weapon, which under the law is illegal since 1986. And I think most Americans, and certainly most members of Congress in both parties, think that automatic weapons should not be in the hands of ordinary citizens.
Absolutely. And, you know, Congressman, until this past week, I don't think the average person had ever heard of a bump stock, had no idea what they did. What would your law do?
So essentially, we would prohibit the possession, transfer, any transactions having to do with these devices, anything that would lead towards legal weapons, semi-automatic weapons, or any kind of weapon being converted into an illegal automatic weapon, which can obviously be used for a massacre of this nature. I mean, some of these bump stocks allow weapons to fire up to 800 bullets per minute. I think most people would agree that's excessive. Those are weapons that should be perhaps in the hands of the military, in some cases law enforcement, but not ordinary citizens.
Right. What about the fact historically the Republican Party, for the most part, has been 100% behind protecting gun rights, etc. However, this time, first time I can remember in a long time, where the NRA and the Republicans, many of them in Congress, are both on the same page. Something's got to be done about this. What happened?
Well, this is different for two reasons. Number one, I think most people agree this is a blatant circumvention of existing law. So closing that loophole would in no way curtail, diminish, inhibit Americans' Second Amendment rights. It would just reemphasize or reiterate something that's already in existing law, that automatic weapons cannot be used. So I think that's the big difference. And I know some people, especially on the left, will try to diminish this. Well, this isn't really a big deal. This isn't going to do anything. Well, it is important, because it would be the first time in decades that the two parties got together and said, hey, on this gun issue, we have found an issue where we agree on, and we want to take a common sense step. And I'm grateful to my Democratic Seth Moulton for being reasonable and rational and joining me in this effort.
Before you go, real quick, the NRA is for more regulation, not legislation. They're not for a ban, so they would just like to see it regulated who is able to have one of these things.
So what I would tell the NRA is, if they're opposed to people blatantly circumventing existing laws, they should be in favor of codifying whatever regulation they support. These devices serve one purpose: to turn legal semi-automatic weapons into illegal automatic weapons. So if they support curtailing that abuse, let's just codify it. Let's put it into law and end this debate forever, so that a future ATF can't change its interpretation.
Sure. All right. Let's see what happens. Congressman, thank you very much for joining us live today.
Thanks, Steve. Have a good day.